Good morning, guys. MWUSA Season 5, Episode 88. It is Wednesday, and we are just leaving home. We're leaving home a little bit later than I would have liked. And let me kind of explain what's going on here. We'll start with today. Looks like a very cloudy, gloomy looking day, and as it should be. Today is April 15th. Today is tax day. And right now it is 68 degrees outside. Today's high is going to be 81, and it looks like chance of rain all day, but nothing definite, just a lower percent chance of rain. So expect that most of my trip is going to be like that, which is not terrible. Not terrible. I went back and forth with the brokerage over and over and over yesterday. And they finally said, okay, well, the one account's set up. You need till tomorrow morning before you can fund it. And the other account hopefully will be done tomorrow. And as it turned out, it actually got done last night. So both accounts were set up last night. And the one that was set up first, as of this morning, is still not fundable, which makes no sense. But the one that was set up half an hour before midnight last night is fundable. So I took a picture of the front and back of a check. I sent that up, and that one is completely done. I called the brokerage, talked to someone. I have a case number, and hopefully in the next couple hours we'll be able to fund that one through the app. I took a check with me, already written, ready to go, and that one will be done. If for some reason it's not fundable, I left an identical check at home with my wife with the address and information to send it to the brokerage and get it postmarked for today, and that will still make it in the account in time. So either way, that's taken care of. With the first account being funded already because I uploaded the check, the taxes that I did and e-filed for that kid are accurate, so there's nothing more to do. Either way, since the account is open for the other kid, whether I have to mail it or upload the check, taxes are done for that kid, and that one specifically has to be mailed. And I have the federal and state already set up in envelopes ready to go, and my wife is taking that to the post office and getting it postmarked with today, which doesn't really matter because they're getting money back. It's not much, it's less than $10, but it will still be on time. And then she may have to go back a second time to send up that check, but she wanted to go take care of the taxes first and know that those are done no matter what. So with all that done, and hopefully by the time I get to my first casino, there'll be resolution for that second case one way or another. And we'll be able to put that all behind us, and we'll be able to play, make some money today, and then our next course of action is going to be our trip coming up on April 22nd, and our cruise most likely in June that we'll need to get set up as soon as possible. That will be, again, with Norwegian Cruise Line. I have multiple free cruises with them. I don't know if I'll have time to do all those cruises, but hopefully I will, because this is getting a little bit ridiculous here with the amount of information and things that I have to keep in mind, and back and forth, and so much traveling, so much home stuff, kitchen still being worked on. It's just mind-blowing right now, but I'll feel so much better sitting on a beach somewhere relaxing. So alright, so right now we are heading out for the day. It's a little bit later than I'd like it to be because of all the stuff that I did this morning, but I do feel better that most of the stuff is already taken care of now. And we're going to be stopping on our route for gas, and I believe I have no meetings today. Just need to keep yeah, I did. I was going to say, did I get my mouse jiggler back? Yes, I did. I'll keep the mouse jiggler in and keep my account active for work, and we should be good today. I do have some stuff that came in last night that I can take care of in like 15 or 20 minutes, and I should be all caught up for work. So yeah, that's what's going on. Finally back on the road, and hopefully have a good, prosperous day today, and I'll be back to update you soon. Alright guys, I'm back, and I thought today was going to be an easier one. It is not an easier one. That account's still not active properly. I had a problem with my 401k with my employer. I called the company, the servicing company, which is one of the top 5 servicing companies in the country, and they don't know what's going on. There's a problem with the account, and I don't know if you remember, maybe a few months ago, I was in an area and I got a text message saying that they needed to verify my bank account, and another like couple days later and then a month later the same thing happened again and again, and they kept saying there's nothing wrong with your account after putting me on hold forever. Well, I guess there's a problem with my account after all that, and they said, why didn't you verify with us? And I'm like, I verified on this date and this date and this date. So they're working on that. I was on the phone with them for about 45 minutes, first person about 15 minutes, and then I told them that they were being very rude and you don't speak to customers that way, and she hung up. So I called back, talked to a manager, and he was very helpful, and he's putting in a request to fix it and figure out what happened. My employer switched servicing companies, and I think a bunch of information got scrambled during that time. And what's interesting is the last time they switched servicing companies, the same thing happened there too. So I'm thinking maybe someone in my HR, otherwise known as CR in some places, HR, made a mistake on my account multiple times. So hopefully that gets fixed. Then I had a problem with Bank of America. I've got 3 cards with them, and the 2 that, well, one of them gives cash back, one didn't. I was using those for the online stuff, and all of a sudden it jammed all those up, and I tried to call them like 3 or 4 times. Each time I was on hold for about half an hour, and I couldn't get through. Finally got through today. I was on hold for half an hour, got through. She said, oh, let me send you this to verify who you are. It didn't work. Sent me a link. I verified it. Supposedly didn't work. She wants me to go to a banking center and verify who I am, then call them back, and then they can take over again. So unfortunately, where I am, a banking center for them is at least an hour and a half away. So I'll have to figure out when to get that in my schedule to be able to go there and get that straightened out. And then the 3rd card I just got in the mail, which is the one that gives me the 2% cash back and all the features that I wanted, and I haven't activated that one yet. I'm a little worried about that right now. Hopefully we can get that activated and work fine. But I'm thinking if I end up having a problem with these other 2, I may just allow them to close those 2 and then activate this one after that, so that it's not affected by, whatever they saw that they didn't like, which I know what it is. It's a, $1,000 withdrawal, and then a big payment a couple days later for the full amount, and then did it again. So same as the problem I had with Wells Fargo. So hopefully we get that all resolved. But right now I just pulled over to get some fuel, and then we'll continue on the rest of the way to our first stop, and I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I am back. So at this point what's going on is I was able to play a little bit of blackjack, and eventually we had the pit boss running over to try to get me in the system. I picked up and left. At one point I was ahead, like, I don't know, not much, couple hundred. Ended up leaving up like 75, so didn't really make any money there. We've done a couple plays as a team, and we're about even on that, slightly down to even. But there's a big one right now that they want to do. It's $100 a spin. $100 a spin. It looks like there's going to be 5 of us doing it, so we'll see how that gets broken down. But right now, they're all sitting around the high limit area, just sitting at that machine talking. I don't really like to be there like that, so I walked away. I told them, just let me know when you decide what you want to do, and I'm good if you guys want to do it. So it's right where I would get in, like the exact point that I would normally be getting in. So I don't know how good it's going to be, but hopefully that all works out. Other than that, I'm just walking around looking at other stuff, waiting for an answer from them as to who's going to be in and how much each person is going to take. and we'll go from there. So that's what's happening right now, and I'll be back to update you soon, hopefully with some good news about that big jackpot, big slot machine. Unbelievable, man. It was like the worst, man. It hit so fast after like 15 or 17 spins, and at $100 a spin, it hits, and what does it pay out? $21. At $100 a spin, it pays out $21. So sick. We ended up losing 115 each, which is a miracle. That's so bad. I mean, a $1 denomination on that should pay an average of $40 to $50. So it should have been like $4,000 to $5,000 easily. Not even if it was good. The mini bonus was $5,000. The minor was $25,000, and we get paid $21 damn dollars. $21. I'm feeling sick, man. Oh. All right, well, I think there was 5 of us, so ended up losing, like I said, 115 each, and, well, looking for some more stuff to do. This is terrible. I'll be back. All right, guys, you want some real-time stuff. This about 30 minutes later, and they still haven't gotten their voucher cashed because they're giving them a hard time about cashing it. One cashier said they had to call their superior. The superior came, they said they have to call the manager. The manager's there right now, and I don't know what's going on, so hopefully they get this figured out. It's almost $9,000 slip here that they're holding up, so I don't know what's going to happen. The fact, well, it's exactly 10,000, not 10,001, but everybody did play something earlier today, so that means that if it's all owned by one person, technically that's a CTR, so I don't know what's going to happen here. So I will let you know what happens. This they should have done is just had different slips, but not put them in, only put them in as you need them. But that's not what happened, unfortunately. So we'll see what happens, continuing situation, and I'll come back and update you. But this is kind of crazy right now. All right, guys, I'm in the car. Very exhausting experience, man. Very exhausting. 3 hours in there. I don't know what to say, honestly. You know, none of this stuff is scripted at all. I just tell it to you the way it is. And just very frustrated right now. Extremely frustrated. So I ended up doing 3 plays with these guys. And the fact that there's all these guys to do these plays with, right off the bat, is a bad sign. First play, minus 23. Second play, minus 117. Third play, minus 115, but the way they cashed us out ended up being minus 120. So what is that? 30, 40, 160 total that I lost with these guys on these plays. And honestly, that big play was a good play, and most people who know what they're doing would play it. I played slots on my own. Well, I told you about the blackjack. Can't get anywhere. And I played slots on my own. I had a $94 win, and then later on I had another win for $216. And that's all I could do. And it's like people want to bring their best friend in and show them how to do stuff, and then at the same time they're complaining that there's too many people, but there's already too many people everywhere, and they're pulling machines out, which means in the long run people are going to starve and they're going to get out of the business. And that may be the only thing that saves us, is people not doing it anymore and giving us the opportunity to get more of the money that we were getting before. But it's right now, I mean, the experience is bad, and I'm considering doing something crazy, like maybe going out of town tomorrow, like a 6 or 8 hour trip tomorrow. I don't know. I guess there's another place that I can go to. It's not too far away. Too much further than this. I mean, it's far away. It's further than this area, but it's still within 6 hours, which now I consider 6 hours local and 8 hours being a trip. So I got to think about that, figure out what to do there. But it's like put so many steps in. And the one guy showed me he averages 15,000 steps in the one casino every day. 15,000 steps. And he makes a living doing it, but it's not an easy living. And it's a frustrating living. And he's a super nice guy, always smiling and stuff. But anyway, let me tell you what happened here with that 8,815 or whatever it was. We put 10,000 in the machine. We should have only done 2,000 at a time. I was okay with doing vouchers for 10,000, but only doing 2,000 at a time. But there's a dynamic here in that there's one guy that some of these guys have had issues with in the past. Not because he's a cheater or anything like that, but he's got a temper, and he would get upset if someone didn't shake his hand or someone didn't say hi or something like that. Honestly, he's a nice guy. I don't know where he gets his money from. He's telling me that he's got like $550K in the bank, which I guess is possible. But some people say that he's done some shady stuff. I don't know. He's got some health issues. And I think one of the guys, who's one of the newer guys, now that guy is one of the newer guys too, but one of the newer guys was worried that maybe he would back out because he wanted to just give 2 and then give the rest later and hold like 4,000 in slips. And this one guy said, no, you got to do it all at once. He put it in all at once. It hit pretty quick. There was a lot of money in the machine, and it became an issue. Now, there are ways around these big vouchers, and I'm going to tell you what they are. This is something that I've done in the past myself. So, I've talked about this on the podcast before. Let's say you have a situation like we do today. $8,800 voucher. The low limit slot or voucher redemption machines will only go up to $1,500 at this location. The high limit ones will go up to $2,400, and then for the rest of them, you'd have to go to the cashier. What if I don't want to go to the cashier? Well, if you win it, let's say you win a bunch of $1,000 hits, no jackpot, but now you've got an $8,000 voucher in the machine. What you can do is there's certain machines that if you put the voucher in it, it'll only accept up to a certain amount. $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 seem to be the most common ones. The one at this location will go up to $2,999.99. So if you put in the voucher for $8,000, let's say $8,000 even. Sorry about that. I thought it was the brokerage. They were looking for McClint. Just so you know, my real name is not McClint. You can scratch that off. I've never even known anyone named that. But anyway, so you put in an $8,000 voucher, you're going to get a voucher for $29.99.99 and a voucher for $5,000.01. Then you cash out the $29.99 and you put in the $5,000 one, you get another $29.99 and one for $2,000.02. So now you have about $3 and $2,000. $2,000, no problem, it can be cashed. The other ones, technically, what you could do is if there's a play, you can use it for the play. You know it's going to take 300 spins. You use the big voucher for a bunch of it. When you start getting close, you remove it. You put in a small voucher or $100 bill and you finish the play. Therefore, your voucher is reduced. That's one way. Well, what if I want to do it faster? One thing I've done in the past, and it's not the safest thing, would be to have. Actually, that's interesting. I just thought of something different. Okay, let's say you have 2 vouchers for $3,000 each. You want to get one of them down below or down to $2,400. You can put a $3,000 voucher in 2 different machines. You can play baccarat for $100 a hand, as long as the banker doesn't win with a 6. Then there's no commission. And once one of them gets to $2,400, you cash out. Now the other one is like $3,600. You go back to the original machine, you put it in there, and now you have all your vouchers below $3,000 except for one, and below $2,400 except for one. And then you do the same thing with the baccarat. It's a little bit risky, but you can always insure it. You know, I don't care. If I'm doing $100 hands, I'm going to lose $50, worst case. But that's what you can do. And one of the guys was saying, oh, they're going to get them for structuring. No, they're not going to get them for structuring. Going up there with a voucher for $8,800 is not structuring. Structuring is having a $12,000 voucher and breaking it down and going up there with an $8,000 voucher, right? What I'm talking about is more structuring than that, but it's not structuring because it's all under $10,000 anyway. I'm not trying to hide $10,000. And according to Bob Nersessian, he said it in the past, that it's not structuring if you're doing it not to avoid being taxes or the IRS or FINRA or any of those things, but to hide your identity. If you're not doing anything illegal, you just want to do it to preserve your identity, it's not structuring. And worst case, you could file a CTR on your own if you wanted to. Why? I wouldn't. You know, if I went into a casino and filed a CTR every time I was in over 10,000, it'd be all the time, because technically, if you have a $3,000 voucher and $4,000 in chips, and then you get out and you cash the $3,000 voucher, you buy in for more, you cash out, come back later in the day, buy in again. Technically, for the day, you've done 10,000, but it's over 2 or 3 shifts. Nobody knows you did it, and you weren't trying to hide anything. So why would I do that? And really, at this specific casino that we're talking about, I've had a situation where I bought in for 11 or 12 at the table, and they didn't CTR me, and then bought in for 2 or 3 or 4,000 more at the slots, and they didn't CTR me. So, you know, I don't think it's an issue. So, all right, at this point, let's go ahead and get some food and then figure out what to do. I may come back here. I may go to another casino a few hours away. I may go home. I don't know. I got a big headache, and I don't know. We'll see. But so far, I guess we're up, but not much, because we made $300-400 by ourselves and lost 180, or we're up a couple $100 or something. So let's get some food. I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. Real quick here before I go on to my next grievance of the day. Let me just tell you some other stuff too. What happened in that casino? They gave that guy such a hard time with cashing that voucher. I don't know if I mentioned all of it, but the one cashier called the other cashier, who called the manager, who called another manager, who called a bunch of security. They were all crowded around him, talking to him. It took about 45 minutes for them to cash that voucher. And they actually had the machine opened up, and they were looking at the machine to see what money went into it. And that spins happened, and that he cashed out, and all this stuff, and it was just a big mess. So learn a lesson from this, you know, that you guys are stupid. Get out of here. People are so dumb. Learn a lesson and do the right thing. Just keep your voucher amounts low if you can, just like your chips. You don't want to get $5,000 chips. You want 500 or below, depending on what casino it is. So at this point, I don't know if I mentioned the name of the bank, but it was Bank of America that I was having the issue with, where I had multiple cards, and they wanted me to verify my identity. Okay, no problem. They said go into a branch, which I've never been into one of their branches. Give them your ID. They'll call us, and we can go from there. Okay, sounds like a pain in the butt, but I'll do it. I went in, and I asked about it, and they said you have to go to the teller. Okay, I stand in line for the teller, and I'm first in line, 10 minutes, and the person who's the teller is the person who was going on break telling me to go stand in line for a teller. So she says, let me see your ID. She says, let me see your debit card. I said, I don't have a debit account with you guys. All I have is a credit card. Okay, let me see your ID. No problem, here's my ID. I expected her to say, we're going to send you a text message, because she asked me for my phone number. I gave her my phone number. She said, okay, what time Monday would you like to come? Come for what? Come to do the verification. I just gave you my ID. Yeah, but that's not enough. You have to set an appointment, and sometimes it takes us half an hour or longer waiting on the phone to get through. So you're no better than me. So it takes me that long to get through. It takes you that long to get through. So we're at a stalemate here. I can't come back Monday, and this is a different state than where I live. And next week on Wednesday, I won't be here. I'll be in another state. They might have Bank of America there. I don't know. So it's a big mess. So I have to worry about that. At this point, still have a headache. I think I'm going to head back to that same casino and see if I can find some plays and do something, because a couple $100 is not going to cut it for today. Let's see if we can do a little bit more. Get some blackjack in, get some slots in. I don't know what else, but I'm not going home with 200 right now. So maybe if it was 7 hours from now, I'll go home with 200, but right now I'm not doing it. So let's head back to that casino, and I'll be back. All right, guys, a few hours later here, I did go back to the casino and looked at everything again, played some slots, looked for tables, couldn't find anything to play, and ended up just walking around a few thousand more steps. Finally ended up leaving ahead, I believe, 203, I believe. Let's take a look. Yeah, plus 203 more on the slots, and still have a big headache today. I'm thinking about taking a nap here in the car in the parking lot, and then waiting for the next shift to start. I haven't decided yet, but I might do that, and then try to play some blackjack on that shift. I'm not sure. Right now, there's nothing even remotely close to being a play. Things can develop quickly, but right now, nothing is going on in there. So I either need to go home, or I need to wait for a long time and go back in. So right now, we're going to wait, and then we'll figure things out from there. So end of the workday right now as well. So I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back, and went back in there, looked around, and found some plays. Was okay, made a little bit of money, and was getting ready to leave. Found some more plays, and I was actually walking by, saw this guy playing a machine at like $4 a spin. It was getting close, and by close I mean within 100 to 150 spins of hitting. And so I decided to kind of sit behind him, so a couple carousels behind him, so I have a direct path to look at it, and sat down, started playing. Guy comes by and gives me the nod, like, hey, is this yours? And I'm like, I gave him the nod. Yeah, it's mine. See you later. And he nodded, and, okay, see ya. And he took off. And that's the way that you're supposed to do it. Now, this Asian guy comes, a real short Asian guy, and he was totally different. He saw me, he looked at me, then he sat down closer than me. And that ain't happening with me, man. That is not going to happen with me. If I almost beat up a grandma in Vegas, an Asian grandma, then there's no way I'm not gonna just knock you out too. You'll be laying flat on your back in the middle of the casino. So don't steal my money. That's my kid's money. You stay away from it. So Anyway, he was still there. I was still there. And eventually the guy ended up hitting it. He actually hit it pretty quickly within 50 spins. Very unusual situation. Then the guy who had nodded at me and walked away, he saw me later. And he said, did you ever get that machine? And I said, no, he hit it. And he said, how much did it pay? And I said, I don't know. I was pretty disgusted when he hit it because he hit it within about 40 or 50 spins. And he was like, oh, yeah, that's terrible. That's my doorbell, sorry. So, anyway, he ended up taking off. And am I allowed to go there? I don't even know. I don't know if I'm allowed to go there. No, we're just going to go this way. I'm kind of just looking around. So I ended up having 2 short sessions, like less than an hour each, of slots, and ended up ahead a total of 278 more. So slots today, 177 plus 101 plus 203 plus 94 plus 216. Blackjack, plus 75. Team slots, minus 23, minus 17, minus 120, for a total of minus 160. So we're coming along slowly. What's that? 280, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 760 or so, minus that. So I'm ahead about 600 after all this time. But I figured it's probably a good time to get out of here and find something to do. Just get away from the casino. You've been in the casino all day. Why don't we go, maybe we get something to eat, maybe not. Let's just look around a little bit and see what's going on in the city, and then we'll head back after the shift change. We got over an hour before the shift change. So let's do that, and I'll come back and update you. All right, guys, I am back, and I forgot to tell you earlier, actually, the guy who I met, the Advantage player, introduced myself as I was leaving, and he introduced himself. And I'm like, wait a minute, are you the guy who's this and this and this? And he's like, oh, yeah, that's me. I'm like, oh, people are always talking about you, but I never knew who you were. So that was kind of cool meeting him. Now, right now, I am just leaving a restaurant. It's not really a restaurant. Let me kind of explain. So I decided to go look around, and within just a few miles, I found a place, and I was going to stop and have some Asian food. And I see, like, whatever, P.F. Chang's type places and stuff. I don't want that. I want, like, a mom and pop place where they actually use love as an ingredient. You know what I'm saying? I don't just want pork ribs. I want love in there somewhere. So I want these guys to be, like, depending on customers liking their food so they can live. I don't want it to be some big corporation that doesn't care about people. So anyway, I found a place, and I put it in the map, and I drive over there at park, and I'm like, this doesn't look like it at all. It looks like some kind of an office or something. So I'm like, well, let's just see what's going on. We'll go in. I go in. It's kind of like, I don't know what they call it. It's kind of like a food court. I'm sure there's a name for it. I don't know. But it's like just a bunch of different restaurants. A lot of them were Asian. There was like Thai, sushi, couple other Asian things, and then I found one place, and it was an Ethiopian place, and I looked at the pictures and stuff, and I decided, you know what, let's go for it. And I know some Ethiopian people, and I know they like spicy food, like really, really spicy. So I thought this would be really good for me. I like spicy food. Let's go for it. So I ordered their food. I ordered like a beef. It's a tender braised beef, so whatever, with, it looked like rice, but it's not rice. I should have taken a picture of what the sign said, but like the rice stuff, and a side of like chickpeas. It's kind of like I don't know, it's like almost like a chickpea soup, but it's thicker than that, and they just put it on the side of the beef, and then the rice stuff was in a separate container. The total was $19 for all of that. And I said, is it spicy? She said, yeah, kind of spicy. I said, well, can you make it spicy? She just said, I can give you some sauce that will make it spicy. She said, actually, I can make the beef really spicy. I said, maximum spicy, whatever you can do. She said, would you like a drink with that? I said, you know what? I don't really think that you can make it that spicy. No drink for me. She said, okay. I said, okay, let's go. So, got my food. Took about 7 or 8 minutes. Watched a little YouTube while I was waiting. Got my food in a couple containers, sealed containers, with plastic fork and napkins and stuff in there. Like it's ready for takeout. It was in a bag. And so I opened it up and tried it out. It was pretty good. It wasn't very spicy. I'll be honest with you. I expected quadruple spicy. I mean, I didn't even have a drink, and I don't think it was spicy at all. I mean, I feel normal. But the food was good, and we'll talk about ratings later on, but I thought it was really good, and I think maybe next time I'm in the city, maybe I'll come back to that little food court and try something different. There was like Thai dumplings, and there was sushi, and there was like Mexican, and I don't know what else, but burgers, I think, stuff like that. So anyway, all right now we're gonna go look around a little bit more, because that really didn't take very long, and then we'll head back to the casino and see what we can do. I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. I finally got to play a little bit of blackjack. And by a little bit of blackjack, I mean a little bit of blackjack. So I go back into this casino. It is jumping. It's busy, crowded. Tables are full. Smoke everywhere. Noise, loud noise thumping. Everything going on all at the same time. Packed. All kinds of people in there. And I was able to still find some plays. I saw some people. It was so funny. I saw some guys, more than one guy, where they saw me and they saw which direction I was going, and they quickened their pace so they would stay ahead of me, so they would check the machines before me. So anyway, I ended up doing okay though. I ended up ahead 172 on slots. I did sit down at a blackjack table. I wasn't able to get too much time in. And I got absolutely crushed at the beginning of my session. 4 dealer blackjacks in the first 5 hands. And then a couple more later on, and I was just dying. And the count started going negative, and I'm losing and losing and losing. And had a little bit of luck, and back and forth. And I was only involved for $1,000. I was down as much as $700. But I was never really up until like the last hand, and finally ended up leaving ahead, but only $100, and it was a negative count. I mean, so I didn't want to stick around. Tables were getting crowded. People were waiting to sit down at that table. Negative count. I mean, what am I going to do at that point? You let them sit. They're going to do side bets and this and that. So whatever. So that's going to be all for the blackjack right now. But my kid called me, one of my kids called me and said that they got, it looks like, a possible scholarship. I mean, these kids are so smart, man. I don't know how, but these kids are so smart. This scholarship covers up to $19,000 a year for 4 years. And we're talking about a kid that won't be in college for 3 years. That's a smart kid. So hopefully everything works out with that. They were very excited, and I don't blame them. I mean, these guys work hard for what they have, and they're so intelligent. Anyway, I hope one day when I tell them about this, and I don't know if I'll ever, I guess I'll probably tell them about the podcast too, but when I tell them about this, they'll understand how hard I worked for them, because I didn't have a lot of the opportunities that they had. I had to start over so many times in life, and this just afforded me a chance to be able to make money because I have smarts and because I work hard, where, you know, I don't have the experience that a lot of other people do in different industries to make a ton of money. I'm not a bank president. I'm not, corporate head, although I've had corporations before. I've had employees and stuff before, but right now, at this point in my life, I don't want anything that's too risky as far as companies and you work 80 hours a week and make no money. And as I'm saying that, I'm thinking, isn't that what you're doing right now? No, it's not, because I've had companies before where I worked 80 or even 100 or more hours a week and at the end of the month you have a loss. And, you know, I'm going to teach them how to do things the right way and start better corporations and things, and teach them all the things that I learned along the way. And the only difference is going to be they're starting 20, 30 years before me. You know, my first company, I was painting houses at the age of 17 during summer vacation. And we're talking about a long time ago, in the 1900s. And I did a great job. And I did like $60,000 in volume just with me and my friends. I didn't even have the skills to paint. I didn't even know how to hold a paintbrush. I actually paid somebody to come out on the first job, which was a small job, and teach us how to hold a brush and how to paint. That's where I started. And, you know, I did 60,000 plus in business. I had 10 to 12 full-time employees at all times. And back then, minimum wage was like less than, I want to say like $4.30 or $4.50 an hour. And, you know, to make that much money in an industry that I've never done before. And then I moved on to other stuff with buildings and windows and roofing and siding. And, you know, then I got into finance and all that kind of stuff, got into IT. I was doing all this stuff at the same time, where I'd be working one job while I have a company on the side and all these things. Now they can learn how to do things right the first time and not make all the mistakes that I made. And thankfully, for the most part, they will listen to me. And when I tell them don't make this mistake, they do pay attention to that. So I'm proud of them for that. All right now we're going to head toward home, and I'll be back to update you. All right, guys, I am back. Just stopped and got fuel, and doing well. Didn't use much gas at all. We're averaging between 48 and 50 miles a gallon. That's pretty darn good. I really wasn't doing that well before because I was speeding a lot more due to work and meetings and all that. I was trying to get from place to place, but doing well today. Interesting day. It's after 10 p.m. right now. Still a long way before I get home. And made most of my money from slots today, and wasn't trying to do that at all. I was trying to play blackjack, and only ended up making a few $100s from blackjack and a lot more from slots. We can do some segments. What did you eat today, MW? Had some vegetables and had some Ethiopian food that was supposed to be spicy but wasn't spicy. But the food was really good, and the hot sauce they gave me was something I've never tasted before, and it was really good too. And I would like to give it a jack on a scale of 2 through ace. I did bite into one piece that was kind of hard, chewy, but you know what? I'm going to go ahead and do it. I'm going to give them a jack on a scale of 2 through ace. And I really believe that if it was at their house cooking for you and they had, you know, just a better presentation, that really was a really, really good meal. And I think it could be really good. I feel like maybe it would drop it down to a 10, saying that the size of the meal wasn't that big. There was plenty of the rice stuff, whatever it was, but not really a lot of meat compared to what I thought it would be in the picture that I saw. So 10 to jack, somewhere in there. And what did you tip today, MW? I played 2 blackjack tables and tipped them $0. We played a $100 a spin slot machine and made no money, never hit a jackpot on it. We put $10,000 to start, and we hit it within like 15 to 20 spins, and tipped $0. And what did you learn today, MW? Well, for one thing, this pit boss that I just had tonight, I've had her the last 3 times that I was there, and she didn't recognize me at all any of those times. So that's really interesting that I keep getting the same pit boss, and every single time she's never seen me before. She has no clue who I am or anything, which is good, which is good for having Wednesdays where I can do overnights. but it was just so packed. It didn't make sense anymore to be there, and I'd already been there for almost like 9 hours or 8 hours, somewhere in there. So that was a long day in one casino. And just to give you an idea, so far today I'm almost 14,000 steps, 99% of which were in that casino. So that's a lot of steps. Yeah, other than that, I think we're gonna head home. We're gonna rest. Tomorrow we're not gonna go too far. We'll probably play a couple sessions of slots, probably play some poker, perhaps, not positive. Or you never know, I may just take the day off and just start booking our trip and stuff. So we'll see what happens. But I'm just going to continue my trip right now. Right now it's 76 degrees outside. It's raining, and traffic is moderate, not too light. So I've seen a few cops along the way, but nothing too bad. I'm going to let you go for now. If you have any questions or comments, my email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.